Hi, I am Michelle Demoss-Coward. When I was young, I adopted the motto by Helen Keller that says, "I am only one, but I am one." I am living my dream by striving to become the woman, the Catholic, the American citizen, the wife, the mother, the grandmother, the friend, and the colleague that I want to grow into. And I strive to hit that dream every single day.
Mickey, thank you so much. I call you Mickey, but for the sake of this interview, we're going to go with Michelle.
Okay.
So thank you so much for being here. How's your day?
Exciting. This is exciting.
I know. I love it. This is, I just love it. I love being able to just sit and dialogue with women, and especially about my favorite topic, living on purpose, living out dreams. And I just appreciate your time, and I appreciate what other women will be able to, other women will be able to see themselves through this interview.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. So I just thank you for that. Something, I was going through your bio, and one thing that really stuck out to me was your leadership ability, and your that you've been with the federal government for over 35 years. Yes. That is quite a long time.
It is.
Quite a long time.
It is.
What would you say to younger women that are now in the government, or those even thinking about coming into the federal government? What type of advice would you give the younger workforce?
I think the most important things to share with younger women joining the workforce, first and foremost, is remember there have been generations of women that came before you that shattered that ceiling. So I don't care what your profession is, allowed you to be a teacher, a doctor, a scientist, a nurse. Women for generations paved the way for you to get there. That's a very important thing to remember. Number two, you are not entitled to anything.
Yeah.
You have to come in and you have to be, I want to say that it's different for women and in every workplace.
Okay.
And I would offer that, most importantly, you have to be bold.
I agree.
Be bold, be courageous, learn your craft.
Okay.
Be competent, be the go-to person. Be accountable, take responsibility. Trust your instincts.
Okay.
And then I think one of the most important other things is, in my opinion, we don't have a lot of male or female really great leaders today. I feel like they shy away from the hard issues. I feel like they lead by popularity instead of being issue and resolution driven. I think leadership is being exactly that.
Okay.
And so I would tell the women of coming into any workplace, embrace your skills.
Yeah.
Be good at what you do. Trust your instincts. And then I would laugh and I would tell them, few of the don't ever do's. Don't cry at your desk.
Okay.
Don't take the day off sick after having a bad day.
Okay.
Get away from the office gossip.
Okay.
So remember that you're not in high school anymore, that you've moved into an arena where you are literally molding the careers of men and women, and they're both looking at you every day. That's a responsibility. And then I think the final word of advice that I would say to all young women is, remember now you have the responsibility to move that ball down the field for the next generation of women.
Okay.
So that's what I would offer.
Perfect. You said be bold.
Mm-hmm.
What does your bold look like?
Okay. My bold is I know my subject matter, inside and out.
Okay.
My mojo is on. I am fearless. I am confident. I'm bringing my A game. I am willing to entertain any other opinions, but I know what I'm bringing to the table, and I just feel indefeatable.
Good.
Indefeatable. And then it also knows when it comes to some of the tougher decisions as a leader in an organization, doing what is right.
Yeah.
And I have I'm older, as you said, 35 years in the federal government. I want to say I started when I was 4.
Okay.
Just for everyone to know. But I think what comes with maturity is you have a very strong moral compass.
Yeah.
And I think if you lead, and when I'm bold, I do what I think is right. And not just for myself, but for the organization, for my team. And most importantly, I work for the United States Navy, so I really challenge myself to do what's right for the warfighter.
Awesome. You also said instincts. Mm-hmm. I'm a big instinct person. Mm-hmm. What would you say? Would you say that you've used your instincts thus far as your federal career? Even making the decision to come into the federal government, would you say it was an instinct move, or what led you to it?
I wish I could say I was one of those people that had my whole career laid out for me and followed this grand design. Unfortunately, it wasn't as much like that.
Okay.
I think what I did was start a summer job on the base, enjoyed working, and in fact, I was scheduled to go away to college, and I got a summer job at Webster Field, making $2.90 an hour.
$2.90.
I had never been so rich in my life. I came back and I begged my parents not to make me go to college.
Okay.
And they allowed me to continue working, but they made me promise that I would stay in school.
Okay.
And so I was raised that your word is very important. It's probably one of the most important things that you bring to any engagement is who you are, represented in how you communicate your word. And so even after my parents died, I went and I got my associates, my bachelor's, my master's, and then I graduated from Navy War College at night to keep my word. So during that time, I really didn't have a grand design of what I wanted to do when I grow up. I think it was more of sometimes stumbling.
Okay.
Not trusting my instinct all the time.
Okay.
For me, I think I had to really grow in. It's been for me more about maturing, trusting my leadership abilities, trusting my instinct, trusting my knowledge base, and being bold enough to sit at a table with people, with men and women, maybe at one point older, many of them prior military or current military, but being bold enough to share my ideas and share my logic.
Okay.
And so while I did not intend to move up in the federal government, I think once you get in and you really embrace job after job, your competitive nature starts to come, and you watch people that are in higher grades than you and you think, I could do that.
Okay.
I'm that smart. In fact, maybe I'm a little smarter than that.
Yeah.
And so again, you push yourself to excel. And so I think it has been more of a moving up at NavAir, broadening my skill set, being competitive, and moving up that way rather than a grand design.
Got it. Education. What's the importance of education to you?
Okay, so going back to my $2.90 an hour, that first and second paycheck, I can't even remember what they were, but we all know it couldn't have been that much, right? But I had never been so rich in my life.
Wow.
And so what it did was made this tremendous impression on me that money represented freedom of choice. Not happiness, but freedom of choice. And so to me, my pursuit of education and getting all my degrees was really about, number one, knowledge is power.
Yes.
It really is. The more you know, the more important you are, the better the decisions you can make, the more you can compete to move up in the organization. And then moving up in the organization gives you more money, which gives you more freedom of choice. So after I got all of my degrees, I realized, especially going at night, some of the instructors I had, I don't even think they liked their subject. And I don't think they were really interested in teaching at night.
Okay.
It just came across so dry and staid. And I thought to myself, people like me that didn't pursue the 4-year, join a sorority, go away, have a book bag, go to classes, but we deserve the same quality education. In fact, maybe even a little more so. Because people like me were getting married, having children, working all day, and trying to get your education in. So I started teaching part-time. And then I started doing tutor buddy at some of our local elementary schools to help children that were struggling in reading. Because to me, reading is the fundamental of education. It's what opens all those doors for you. So going full circle, I think education is what gets you and opens those doors to allow you to have financial freedom of choice.
I'm so glad you mentioned that you were working, you were raising your family, you were a wife, and you were pursuing your education. Because I think that is so, sometimes it's looked upon as the impossible, particularly with women when we're juggling so many different things. So having that education and knowing that that education could lead to some freedom, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. And I think it's inspiring to know that it is possible, for not only that you were able to do it, but you're continuing to do it. Because now you're a grandmother.
Yes.
I saw that you're a grandmother, and you're still teaching, you're still giving back to your community, you're still a wife. And you have an anniversary coming up, correct?
I do.
I know. I just think it's awesome. I think it's awesome to be able to, I think it's humbling. I'm a little younger, so I just look to your experience, and I look at your story, and it's just so inspiring and aspirational to be able to sit with everyday women. We have on makeup and our hair is done for the sake of this interview, but it's everyday women like yourself. I believe that the truth, the realness of your story, it will allow someone like myself look from the outside looking in and saying, hey, if Mickey could do it, I could do it too. And I love that. I love that it's tangible, that you're here. I could call, and I think that other women that are going to view this interview, they can see it too, that it is real, it is possible.
Well, I think the most important thing for women, and what you're doing is so commendable, because I think we turn to Hollywood movie stars.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
We turn to other people when I really believe that the key is in each of one of us.
Yeah.
Don't take yourself out of the race.
Yeah.
You hang in there. You be bold. So you fail. It's not life-threatening, and you might learn more from that failure than you would have from the successes that come from it.
Yeah, I will say this. I've realized something about the pattern of my life, and I know that's how God has used me. But I grow more in my failures, right?
Yes.
Than I do in those times where I'm all high and I'm in the mountains and my head's in the cloud. I grow more in those low places, the valley places, than I do any other time in my life. So it's humbling. You appreciate the valley, the high moments, the mountain, and your head's in the sky. You appreciate those moments more. And not that you have to fail, but I think it is a part of life. So for people to know it and understand that it does happen, but you don't have to stay there.
Absolutely. And it's not the failing. It's the fact that you stepped out of your comfort zone. And you can take, any woman, any man, anybody can take such pride in, I tried.
Yeah.
I succeeded, well, that's a good statement too. But I really am just a trier.
Yeah.
And I've had, some tough times in my life. But one of the things that through the tough times I learned about myself is I am scrappy as heck. And anybody that didn't put their money on me, they'd be making a very bad mistake. Wow. Because I will figure it out.
Yeah.
I will pick myself up, and I will succeed.
And that's awesome.
Maybe not the first chance.
No, but you will.
I will.
You will. And I believe that's a mindset. Your mind is made up that you will, so you will.
And that's what I think we need to communicate to women of all ages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that so many people tell you you're not.
Mm.
You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not educated enough. You're not thin enough. You're not this enough. And the fact is, you are.
You are.
You are all that and so much more.
I love it. I love it. Your family.
Ah, yes.
Your family.
Mm-hmm.
You light up when you speak of your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you spend your. That's part of what you look forward to when you think of your off time. Is what I read in your Bible.
Yes.
And I just think that's awesome. I just think it's awesome.
3
years of marriage.
Yes.
5 grandkids.
5 grandchildren.
2 kids.
3
kids.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. I think what has been so great about this is I married my best friend, and without getting all gushy on the set here, but I did not know that love or marriage could feel like this.
Oh.
And so saying that it's, you know, all these years of marriage, it's not the number, it's the happiness and the feeling. And as we're going full circle now that, you know, our children have all grown up and moved on and they have children and families, that I know that we're going to transition just fine into the next phase of our lives where it's just Sam and I.
Yeah.
And so...
because it wasn't the kids that kept you.
No. In fact, what I think we have done, which I'm very proud of, I honestly think that we have given our children a marriage to emulate. Oh. And not that we're perfect by any means, but I think that, you know, one of the legacies you leave your children is they watched to see how their mother and father or mother and stepfather or whatever combination is going on. That's their idea of marriage. And so if you can keep the playfulness, the love, the togetherness, I think that is really a very important gift that you give your children.
I love it. I love it.
And then, you know, I've always laughed about, you know, the complexity of having children. And I laugh because...
That's another layer.
The highest highs, the most scared you'll ever be are with your children. And then you watch, like with mine, you know, all of mine are up and every single one of them, God bless, has a child. And you spend all these hours trying to shape them and give them faith and moral and values and try to help mold into a good man or woman to give the world. And then they grow up, and there are times when I am telling you, you look at them and you're like,
who are you?
What is this?
Who's your parent?
And you pendulum between frustration and awe.
Oh.
These autonomous individuals that you know you're somewhere deep down inside.
Yeah.
And you watch them, and then you watch your grandchildren, and you start to see how they've become parents. And so for me, and I can see so much of my parents in me that it grounds me as that family is really the link to the past and the tie to the future.
Oh, I love it.
You know,
it is.
It
really is. So let me say this. So 35 years you've given to the government.
Yes.
Okay. You're soon to retire.
Yes.
Tell me, what does retirement, or what does the next chapter look like for you? What does that look like?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I tell you, on one hand, it feels very exciting.
I bet.
It feels very exciting. You know, when you're reading one of your favorite novels, and you're not to the next chapter, but you know this is building up to the next chapter, that's where Sam and I are.
Okay.
And so on one hand, it's very, very exciting because you really look at it like this is the next chapter in our whole lives. That all being said, it is scary as heck. Okay. I have been working since I was 16 years old, and the idea of not having to do something, to choosing, and setting ourselves up financially so we have that choice. It's scary. It's exciting. So things I don't know, I'm not exactly sure how that picture is going to look, but things I do know with complete confidence. I want to do more charity work.
Okay.
I'm so important to me to make a difference, not only in my family's lives and my friends' lives, or people's lives I touch, but just to strangers, to something. I always say, I'm only one, but I am one.
Yes.
And so I want to do more charity work. My husband wants to get me out on the golf course.
Wow.
That's gonna be
should
be fun. But my charity work, I know two things I will not be doing. I cannot work with children, and I cannot work with animals because I have a tendency to bring them home
to attach
and want to raise them. So I'm going to have to pick something that I can contribute, but it doesn't.
It can go home.
Yes, it doesn't become growing our family anymore.
Yeah.
Because the joke was every time when my husband went on deployment, and this is no exaggeration, I brought home a child to Guardian, and so he would go home. He would go on deployment and he would come back, and I would have another child and at least 2 more pets in the house.
Wow.
And so, yes, I can't work with children or animals.
No.
But I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm nervous. So I can't tell you, but I just know I'll be out there living it.
I love it. That's what life's about.
Yeah.
So fill in the blank for me. Seek purpose, right? That's something that I believe is so important. I believe we were given this life not just for ourselves, but to be able to share it with other people, to be able to impact lives, to really be able to live out that calling that God has placed within us. So fill in this blank for me. My purpose is?
I think my purpose is really just to continue to strive. And I fill in the blanks with, a better Catholic. I need to be better at my faith because God has the right to expect a lot of me because He has really blessed me. A better American citizen. I think our country is calling for us to stand up as Americans and be proud of our country and be active for our country. A better wife, a mother, grandmother, friend, colleague, neighbor. So I think my purpose is to continue just striving to be the very best I can be. And by that, I will make a ripple effect for as long as I'm alive.
Oh, awesome. Now to fill in this blank for me. You're living your dream, really living it. You're living your dream of?
I'm healthy. I have a wonderful family. I started as a GS3 clerk typist, and I'm retiring as a GS15 step 8. I have a master's degree, went through Navy War College. I give back to the community and I help others succeed. I'm teaching my grandchildren. I'm part of their lives. And so it's the dream of being relevant. I think in my own little tiny way, I've added value to this world.
You have.
I think so.
You have.
And so I think that's, at the end of the day, I can be proud of that.
Oh.
That's my dream.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I just thank you again for your time. I thank you, and I believe wholeheartedly that there will be women, men, children that will look at this interview and they will be inspired to live their dreams, to really seek purpose. It's so important to me that people really understand that our lives are not just for us to live, but it's purposeful. It's godly. It should be. And when you're living on purpose and you're living out purpose, you're unstoppable. So I just thank you for your time. I just thank you for your friendship. I thank you for being exemplary in your government career, because I too am a part of the federal government, so I can look to you for advice, for mentorship, for leadership, And I just appreciate that you're living it out every day.
Thank
so
you.
I just thank you.
And I think it's wonderful that you are doing this, because I think one of the things that women, we need to do a better job is taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And literally having each other's backs. Not like,
No.
but like really having each other's backs. And you're moving the ball down the field for the women behind us. And that is absolutely how you have purpose, and you are helping others live their dreams. So right back at you.
Thank you.
Okay. Seek purpose, live dreams.